And welcome to another episode of No Buts About It. It is our 101st episode. The last episode was episode 100, and I forgot to say something. But we've made it 100 episodes, now 101. Thank you to everyone who has listened, who has supported the show. I was on the Cardinal Rule last night with Joe Camo. My mock draft was the best mock draft they'd ever seen. That's what they said. It was the greatest mock draft ever.
Oh, was that really
Yeah,
what they said?
yeah. The Cardinals GM actually looked at my mock draft. And that's actually what they're going to do.
Oh,
They're
I
going
didn't know that. I didn't know that the GM was, so involved with YouTube. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
he's actually just YouTubing what the fans want, and then he saw mine, and he just loved it.
Especially from like a Bengals fan, he
Yeah,
definitely was like, you know what? Out of everybody, we're gonna listen to the Bengals fans for the mock draft.
no. I made some mistakes, but that's kind of part of it. Joe made some mistakes on his Bengals mock draft. I made some on my Cardinals mock draft. We talked about it. It was fun. I had a great time. So go check out the Cardinal Rule if you are an Arizona Cardinals fan. And if you came over from the Cardinal Rule to support this show, thank you. Hope you enjoy yourself over here. I'm Josh. I'm in a dorm room in Steubenville, Ohio, hence all the shelves. Chuss is in his basement in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with his bird, Murray. I'm rocking the merch right now. I got the God is Great, Beer is Good, Football's Fun, and Chuss is Toxic tank on, which will be the merch store will be the link in the bio. You can go buy it. It's pretty comfortable, to be honest. I've worked out in it a couple times, and I wouldn't just say that. I'm not just trying to plug the merch, but I do actually enjoy wearing it. So this is something Chuss. This I don't know where it's gonna appear. It's above me right now, but this little graph here is something Chuss sent me before the show. Except he had or you didn't have it, but the guy who made the one you sent me had the Browns above the Ravens.
Yeah, it was Cincinnati, I think, at 12-5, Cleveland at 10-7, Baltimore 8-9, and Steelers, I think, 6-11.
So
So
yeah, and I think this one that's on the screen was made about a week ago. So before the Lamar Jackson situation, which I talked about a little bit on the Cardinal Rule, I think a lot of teams need to pay attention to it, including the Cardinals, because wherever Lamar goes, that is going to just shift the league. It's going to cause issues for teams. Certain teams might want to trade up that don't need to trade up anymore if Lamar goes to their team. The Colts being that primary team that he's been linked to, I think if they somehow land Lamar, then the Colts don't need to trade up for a quarterback. They don't need to go and make sure they get probably the third best guy out there. So I think the consensus, it's pretty clear. The Cincinnati Bengals, barring injury of Joe Burrow or long-term injury of Jamar Chase, they are going to win the division, right? Can we agree there? Bengals should
Oh,
win the
yeah.
division.
I agreed with that before. When I was texting you about it, I was like, Cincinnati, yes, at the top. Cleveland, number 2, absolutely not. I pretty much have already came to that consensus. There's the only way that Cincinnati wouldn't, like you said, make it is if Cincinnati had a bunch of injuries or something like that. Kind of like how the LA Rams did. I feel like the Rams could have been a lot better this year had they not had some key injuries. So, very similar. And wow, Murray is very loud today. I guess he agrees with me. So he's very
These
vocal today.
these three are very interesting to me. Um, Mainly, and I can't highlight that way, but mainly the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because we're in year 2 of Kenny Pickett, and he's going to have to improve. He's going to have a great sophomore year. Lamar is leaving the Ravens. He doesn't want to play for the Ravens. So we talked about this over text. I don't see a situation where the Ravens get second. I can barely see them getting the 8 and 9 that this mock you sent me had, unless J.K. Dobbins stays healthy the entire time. Unless you've got someone like Tyler Huntley, who is their current backup, who just balls out. They don't really have any receivers. They just signed Nelson Aguilar from the Patriots, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I I agree with you. I don't think that this is really a team that can get second in the division with the Cleveland Browns having Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb. They've added Elijah Moore from the Jets, who a lot of people forget about Elijah Moore. He was very good his rookie year. Then he was kind of saying, "Hey, I'm not really getting the targets I want. I want you guys to trade me." Didn't play a few games, came back. He was like buried in the depth chart for a little bit, but he's still very young, very talented receiver. I have no idea what Deshaun Watson's going to look like for the Cleveland Browns. So I think the Cleveland Browns could maybe get second in the division. They could come up here and maybe get 10 wins. I don't know. 10 wins might be a little generous. That's going to completely depend on how Deshaun Watson plays, in my opinion.
And I don't think he really showed that much promise at the end of the season, to be completely honest, when he came back. I mean, I thought Jacoby Brissett played better at times. So it was kind of like a mixed bag. I mean, there was a lot going on with Deshaun Watson at the time. I mean, he had just been suspended for so long, and he had a lot of controversy coming back into the game. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Watson does, because I don't think he is as good as I think a lot of the mock predictions are having him, projecting Cleveland to be like second place or like 10-7. I've seen, like 11-6 and stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't think the Cleveland Browns are that bad of a team, but I don't think they're quality. They're able to be capable of winning that many games. I think probably 10-7, like you said, is a little generous. I think 9-8. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if Baltimore, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh all have losing records at one point. Like I was like Cincinnati at the top, and then the person right under them, whatever team it is 8-9. I mean, obviously, I would hope not for the Steelers, but like if anything, I feel like that could be more of a bigger statement than saying the Cleveland Browns are going to be 10-7, Baltimore is going to be 8-9 or 9-8, and the Steelers are going to be 6-11 or 7-10. I feel like there could be a lot more to be said about them all having losing records and Cincinnati winning the division rather than those three all like fighting for the division. Like you said, I don't think Baltimore can really get it done without Lamar. I feel like Huntley would, like you said, have to ball out. Cleveland, I still think they're struggling a little bit on defense. I mean, yes, they had Jacoby Brissett, blah blah blah, all that stuff, but there's been a lot of things that make me question Cleveland's front office too. I mean, they do make some questionable decisions. So, I mean, if they choose to make more questionable decisions, it could hurt or help them in the long run. I mean, a lot of people were curious about this Deshaun Watson deal completely. So, I mean, that's still a remains to be seen type thing. I mean, maybe he'll blow up this year, or maybe he'll do nothing, and then maybe he'll end up like Russell Wilson. I mean, a lot of people have the Broncos doing really well next year, and I just don't see it, like I just don't. But I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of high hopes for the Steelers. I have high hopes that they could get second, but I don't know. It's tough.
Do you objectively think that the Steelers' offense is in a place right now where they can beat the Ravens' defense?
The Ravens' defense?
Yes.
Yeah.
You think Steelers' offense should be able to take down the Baltimore Ravens' defense, no problem?
Well, not like no problem, but I mean, I'm pretty sure. Didn't we win? Didn't we beat them last season?
I think you beat them. I think you might have gone 1-1 against them.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking, like, the Ravens
because
defense,
I'm pretty sure we beat them last season. It was 1-1. Yeah,
okay.
Because I remember us losing, I think home, and then I think we beat them away.
Okay, the Ravens defense though isn't really changing that much, and they've been a strong defense for a while.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's the same situation. I'm pretty sure we went 1-1 against every single team. I think we beat you guys once, lost to you guys, beat Baltimore once, lost to Baltimore, and then we lost to Cleveland once and beat Cleveland. So I mean, like, I don't really think. I don't think so. I mean, I think Baltimore, yes, is a great team, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a team's a team, and any other team can come in and beat them out. So I mean, I don't really think it's necessarily like a can the Steelers do it. I mean, maybe they can't do it week 7, but maybe they'll be able to do it week 8 or something like that. You just it just depends on the day. I mean, San Francisco was supposed to have one of the best defenses and got defeated by Philly. And like, granted, I understand the quarterback situations and blah 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 and all that, but they still lost. It wasn't like San Francisco kept it close. And then you can go back like and just talk about so many other games that were like, what the heck happened? Like where was the defenses and stuff. So I don't know. I don't think the Steelers will have any issues against the Ravens. So
Do you think? How do I want to say? Why do you think, or what do you think the Ravens will do? Because presumably, if they trade Lamar, which they would, they're going to get a first-round pick for sure. They're going to get at least one first-round pick. We're going to talk about him going to the Colts. I think that's an interesting spot for him. If he goes to the Colts, though, the Colts have the 4th overall pick right now, I believe. And so they would be in position to get a new quarterback if they want. They also have Tyler Huntley, who's a 2020 rookie. I believe Tyler Huntley's still under contract. Do you, in that situation, do the plug and play thing that we've been loving? Do you think this is going to be a team, the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to be a team that you're yelling, let somebody cook at?
I don't know. I mean, it's a tough call because it's one of those things where it's like, it's not like Indianapolis where they had Matt Ryan, Nick Foles, and Sam Ellinger. They had like a super veteran, a rookie, or like not really, like, it's just like they had like all different age ranges. They had like a young buck, a super veteran, and then a veteran. And it's like, oh, we're just going to cycle all 3 in. And then you had like Washington where it was like Carson Wentz, Heineke, and then they had Sam Howell. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you got to pick somebody. And then in the Jets, it was, I mean, even like, New England Patriots kind of did a little bit too. They had Mac Jones and they were doing the Zappy thing. And then the Jets, and then the Jets had Mike White, Joe Flacco start at the end of the year. And then, our boy that I, don't feel like he is I'm blanking on his name, Zach Wilson. I blanked on his name for a minute. I was gonna say Zach Bryan, but I felt like that was just my mind's in a different. Not
singer Zach Bryan is starting
yeah,
New York Jets.
Yeah, no. But I think I don't know if Baltimore would do that. But I mean, I guess it's not impossible. I mean, since we've been seeing it a lot more, I mean, I guess it's possible. So, but it would really depend on who Baltimore would draft. So
Baltimore would have Tyler Huntley, Anthony Brown, and presumably, I'm going to say, because I don't think the Carolina Panthers are actually going to take him first overall, your boy, Anthony Richardson.
Oh, so nice. Wow.
Maybe do some play and play there. And that's why they over here at sportsnot.com, they know Anthony Richardson's going to end up being the starter, and that's how the Baltimore Ravens are going to get second.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. I don't agree with that, but I think it's going to be, I think at that point it will be a lot of plug and play. I mean, the problem is like you have to really like it's one of those things where like when Kenny Pickett went in for the Steelers this year, I mean, like I don't want to say he did like amazing, at times. I mean, there was definitely like against the Miami Dolphins game, like we easily could have won that game. 3 interceptions by Kenny. That was tough. And I mean, there was a lot of games that, Kenny just had to clutch, and there were some hit or miss moments for Kenny. But I mean, I think towards the end of the season, he was showing a lot of promise, yet we weren't scoring a lot of points. Like we weren't, we were struggling with different, like we were struggling at different moments and stuff. But one of the things that Mike Tomlin did was he kept Pickett in and just kind of let him develop. And I think a lot of these other teams are just kind of not letting, like I said, they're not letting somebody cook, and they're just kind of they're kind of just like putting one player in at a time. They're just like, oh, like for example, Indianapolis, like, oh, we're going to start Nick Foles. Oh, he did terrible this week. We're going to put in Matt Ryan next week. And then Matt Ryan does okay. They might win a game. They're like, all right, yeah, we're going to put Matt Ryan in for the following week. He loses. Up. We're going to go back to Sam Ellinger. It's like, why? Just let it happen. And like for Baltimore, I feel like if they are going to run with Anthony Richardson, start out with playing Tyler Huntley or whatever that other guy is. What's the third strings?
Brown.
Anthony Brown. Let Anthony Brown, cook for a little bit, or just let one of those guys cook. And then whenever you feel like it's time, even if it's not this season, like let's say Huntley does blow up and does really good and they do end up getting second place, then okay, well, you don't got to worry about it. But if he starts struggling like Mitchell Trubisky did for the Steelers, I think it might be a conversation where you might have to say, you know what, I think it might be time to put in our future, and that might be AR, and instead of like switch, like if he does bad, like I mean the problem is though is like Tennessee had Malik Willis, and Malik Willis did bad. Like I don't want to like sugarcoat it. He didn't do great, and then he beat.
Called it.
Yeah, I knew that, and I was like I think Malik Willis was a little overrated there, and then he ended up going in and doing really bad. He ended up, I think, picking up that win against Houston, right? Maybe I think he did win one game, but it still was very questionable. So, I mean, there's like quarterbacks like that you kind of almost know immediately that might be a struggle to develop. Now, granted, Malik Willis was a second round pick, I believe. Like he was a later round pick, and Anthony Richardson was supposed to go first round. So you would assume a lot more from him. But also we've seen a lot of first round picks not do anything at all. So, I mean, it just is, it's a gambling game in the NFL. When you go and draft somebody, you just gamble that you hope that they're good. They looked good in college, but you kind of just have to hope for the best. And I think Baltimore would be fools if they did that. The only way that I would do that is if Anthony Richardson didn't show any promise. Kenny Pickett showed promise. Anthony Richardson, it would have to be a to be determined type thing. Like if he got drafted to Baltimore, if he threw 4 picks in the first half, then I'd be like, yeah, this guy stinks. But if he throws 1 touchdown and 1 interception in the first half, and everyone's like, all right, well, not bad. Maybe even if he finishes with like 2 touchdowns and like, 3 or 4 interceptions, maybe it's a little bit more promise. I mean, throwing the 2 touchdowns might be, good, but like the ratio might be bad because you have 4 interceptions or fumbles or whatever you want to put it in there. But it might be a thing where it's like, all right, well, we're going to keep going. I mean, Kenny threw 3 interceptions his first game, and he had only 2 rushing touchdowns. He didn't even throw a touchdown. He had 2. So, I just hope Baltimore doesn't do that. I hope they don't switch lots. I hope they follow one of their AFC North pals, and actually just kind of let if it's Anthony Richardson or Will Levis or whoever they end up going, just let them cook.
Okay. Well, first of all, Malik Willis was 86th overall, but I do want to brag on that. He was supposed to go in the first round, and I kept saying, I don't know if you were part of the show yet or not.
I don't think I was, but I know me and you talked about this.
But I
yeah.
kept saying he is not a first-round level quarterback. He shouldn't be in the first round. He wasn't, so he's not that great, in my opinion. Josh Dobbs played better than him. But moving on, let's not roast Malik Willis this entire time. Let's continue talking about Lamar Jackson because he is the big news piece. Let's talk about him going to the Colts. And I grew up a Indianapolis Colts fan. I traded sides in 2013 when Bengals drafted Tyler Eifert.
You traded sides?
I traded sides.
Interesting.
And I like to, hey, I didn't bandwagon because the Colts were good. Or had been coming off good. They were bad.
I'm not saying you're a bandwagon. I'm just saying that it was just funny that you said I traded sides.
And I did. I went after Andrew Luck's. He was drafted in 2012. So Andrew Luck's going into his sophomore season, I switched sides, started rooting for Tyler Eifert. I've stayed consistent. I didn't go from like one really good team or one really bad team to one really good team. I went from a bad team to a bad team. or actually a good team to a bad team.
Yeah, I mean
I,
that's that. I'm really surprised though that you even went to be a Bengals fan. I mean, I get that Cincinnati's close to you, but also like Indianapolis is also really close to you, and you live in the state of Indiana. So
yeah,
it would make more. It made more sense for me to like. Obviously, I live and grew up in Pittsburgh. You know, it's natural for
I
me to
still
be a
like Indy.
Steelers.
I still like Indy. I like the Colts still. I still have my Colts jerseys, and I like Colts fans. Colts fans are really cool to hang out with too. But point is, Lamar Jackson, he's on the market. He tweeted yesterday he doesn't want to be a Baltimore Raven anymore. He said he loves the Ravens fan base, he loves the community, he loves Baltimore, but they're not going to pay him what he feels like he should be paid. So he's moving on. He's making a business decision, and that it has always been his dream to win a Super Bowl or to help a team win a Super Bowl, I believe is what he actually said. Okay.
I kind of already basically saying that Baltimore was never going to win a Super Bowl, so that's already kind of a slap in the face.
Two things here that are really interesting to me with the Colts. Jim Irsay a few years ago promised that the Indianapolis Colts would win 2 Super Bowls in this decade. It's getting close to the middle of the decade, and they haven't won one yet, and they haven't even come close.
I was gonna say they haven't even gotten. Have they even gotten into playoffs like at all in the last 3 years?
I think once before
Okay.
Jacksonville because Jacksonville and the Titans were doing their thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I just didn't know because I don't really follow a lot of Colts, and I don't remember. You know what? I think you're right. I think they did make it the one year. I don't remember who they had, but I remember them making it, and then I
feel
think
like
they
they
lost in
snuck
the
in.
first. Yeah, they snuck in some point. Might have been during the bubble year, whatever
Right.
year that was, the 2021 season or 2020 season. It was one of those years. I think they snuck in.
It Then Jim Irsay yesterday was asked how he feels about guaranteed contracts. And Jim Irsay, in his own fashion, as if he had no idea what was going on in the media, said, "I don't like them. I think they don't work out well. They're not competitive. I don't think that they help us as a team." Um, so now Jim Irsay is saying, "I don't like guaranteed contracts. They don't work out in the NBA. They don't work out in other professional leagues." Okay. Um, Lamar's out there saying he wants a fully guaranteed contract. I don't think he's going to get that. I really don't think he's going to get that because he has an injury history, and a fully guaranteed contract is stupid in a game where anyone can get injured at any point, especially one when it's like 230 mil. If you want to give your punter a 5 million fully guaranteed contract, okay, fine. But getting your quarterback that, I don't see it. However, why I don't personally like Lamar's playing style. I've been very open about that. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't personally like his playing style, though. I think he runs too much. I think he's got a decent arm, but I'm not sure his running style is sustainable. However, I think that the Colts have been too long focused on the pocket passer. They're sticking to that. They had Phil Rivers. They kind of got away with it with Wentz, but then they went back to Matt Ryan, and who was also a pocket pass. It just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked out. And now they've got Shane Steichen, first year head coach. He was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. He's worked with Jalen Hurts, got them to a Super Bowl. Do I think he's going to get them to a Super Bowl? Their first year? No. But if you bring in Lamar Jackson, he has a similar playing style to Jalen Hurts. Their games are different in some ways, but they're both mobile quarterbacks, and Shane Steichen already knows how to work with that. Second of all, the Indianapolis Colts need a refresher. I feel like the Indianapolis Colts have become that team that is just kind of vaguely like out there on the schedule, like in a cloud, where like no one really knows what they're doing. They don't really have anything. They have some key players on defense. Shaq Leonard is a stud. They've got Jonathan Taylor at running back, but after that, it's like who else? You know, I I think bringing in Lamar, brings a new energy to the building, brings a new energy to the fan base, and it helps kind of bring in some youth because he's not that old, really. He was a 2018 rookie, so he's got that veteran experience, but he can also still play. Lamar Jackson can ball out. That's still a fact, even if you don't like his playing style. He's still a threat. And teams or players will want to come play with Lamar Jackson. So if you can say to Lamar, maybe I just think he brings something to the team that helps them refresh their marketing and also their team in the locker room itself. So if you can somehow convince Lamar to take a lesser guaranteed contract and say, hey, look, if you come here, you're going to be a part of building something. You're going to help us build something greater. I think that is more enticing, at least to me as an outsider. I would rather be a part of a legacy with, it's going to go Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, whoever wins the Colts their next Super Bowl. Because they're going to forget, in the history books, they're going to forget all this like random stuff where we've got random veteran quarterbacks every year. Bring in a young guy. Bring in a guy who you know can play, who can make a difference. I think Lamar Jackson could be that guy. Your head coach has already worked with a guy similar to him. Players will like him. I think it's a good win for the Colts if you can get him on a good contract. What do you
think? Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a good landing spot for them. I do. Or for Lamar, I think it could be a really good landing spot. Bringing in a young guy is definitely going to help. I mean, as you said, the new head coach has a lot of experience with like mobile quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts. I mean, and although Jalen Hurts wasn't as mobile as like Lamar uses his legs a lot more. I feel like it could help. I think the only thing is with Indianapolis is although that they have the quarterback situation figured out, I still don't think it's going to be immediately before they find like all the other key pieces they need. I mean, like it's one of those things where it's like it takes time to build a football team. And for Indianapolis, how you said it, like I think they have some big pieces, but I think they're also missing a lot. I think that they could use some help on maybe the receiving. I think they could use a little bit of help on defense, not a ton, but just a little bit. Just some key additions would be very helpful. And I think that they could be solid. But the problem that I have with that is, are they willing to pay him like come end of the season? Because I mean, he's still going to want guaranteed money. I mean, right now he doesn't want as guaranteed of money like now because, obviously the whole scandal and stuff like that. But if he still wants to stick with like the 200 million guaranteed type deal, even after this season, it's going to be a question for the Colts if they're going to be willing to pay him that much guaranteed money, or if it was just like a one hit wonder 1 year type thing, and they might only go 8 and 9. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you just don't know. You kind of have to like trade for him and then kind of seal a deal almost immediately, and it'll be very interesting for the Colts if they did that. He wants to help a team win a Super Bowl, and I think he could win a Super Bowl with Indianapolis, but I think Indianapolis needs some key players first before they make a deep run. It's not like there's some teams out there that they have all the pieces, they just need a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of like the Rams. The Rams had all the pieces, but they just needed a better quarterback. And they got that in Matt Stafford, and they ended up winning. I mean, granted, they did a lot of buying and did a bunch of other stuff. They almost kind of bought their Super Bowl in a way. I mean, they did win, but all they really needed was that quarterback. Just because Jared Goff got them to that Super Bowl, but they couldn't do anything else. Matt Stafford won them that Super Bowl.
The Rams also needed a BS holding call to win the Super Bowl.
I forgot that honestly, I kind of forgot the Rams played the good old Cincinnati Bengals.
But I don't know. I just feel like Lamar, whatever team he goes to, they're going to want to – players are going to want to play with Lamar. Players may take pay cuts to play with Lamar. We've seen it. If you have a franchise quarterback, there are players who will say, you know what, I've got all these offers from all these other teams, but I really want to go play with that guy.
But the only thing that I have with that is since it's so further into free agency, I feel like a lot of more key guys aren't going to wait around, to see where Lamar goes. So it'd be a situation where this would be a thing for next year, because right now there's a couple other factors. I mean, will teams be willing to trade for Lamar Jackson right before the draft? Or would it be a situation where it'd be after the draft? Like, let's say Indianapolis doesn't get a quarterback in the first round, and then they're like, well, let's trade away all of our first round picks for the next 5 years and get Lamar Jackson. We got our key, lineman or whatever we want to draft. Like, I don't really know. I haven't really looked into Indianapolis Colts mock drafts too much, so I don't really know what they need. But like, whatever they might need, if they don't decide to draft a quarterback and they decide to draft something else, there's a lot of factors with it. I mean, there's some teams that might just be like, oh, if we don't get a quarterback, we'll just draft or we'll just trade for Lamar Jackson. But I mean, it's tough. It's a tough thing.
Say off the top of my head, the Colts draft needs are probably quarterback, which would be solved by getting Lamar Jackson. Some offensive line depth. I think they lost a cornerback. They're going to need that. Then maybe some pass rush and then a receiver because Paris Campbell is with the Giants now. So what if I'm just spitballing here. This is another pipe dream. D-Hop to the Colts because he wants to play with Lamar.
The problem is though,
D-Hop. We trade away the entire franchise for the Colts. The Colts' entire future gets traded for D-Hop and Lamar.
The only thing that I have to say about that is you have to bank a lot on signings at that point. You have to bank, like, if you make those two trades, you have to hope that your team is capable enough from what you have right now, unless you pick up some like random guys off free agency, like those like 34-year-old guys that aren't expected to get signed, but get signed by the Colts just because they need the players type situation. You would, like, if you don't sign anybody else, you just kind of, the Colts would just, if they traded away like all of their picks in this year or something like that for D-Hop and Lamar and stuff like that, they would kind of just have to hope that it works. And that's a scary thing because if it doesn't work, like right now, Denver is really concerned because Russell Wilson did not cook this season like they were hoping that he would. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that even, but like, I mean, you think about that and a lot of people are like, dang, we really traded away all these picks for what, And I mean, it's scary because they just have to make Russell Wilson work. They just have to have it work. And I mean, Deshaun Watson even hasn't shown that much promise either. And they're just kind of hoping that it works. I mean, there's just, I mean, granted that was a different, aspect, but it's a lot of, it's definitely something to keep an eye on, but definitely something risky. If they feel it'll work, great. But I don't know if that's a good idea for Indianapolis. I don't think D-Hop and Lamar would be a good idea unless you can get D-Hop for like a third or fourth round pick or something. He's definitely worth more, but I don't know if it would be worth a second or first when, you traded for Chase Claypool and it was a second. So
I think D-Hop goes for a second, I think. So you get
D-Hop, I mean, for a second, it would be
maybe another late round pick, but I'm thinking D-Hop second round picks. Lamar is going to go for 2 firsts. Because of the tag.
But also I'm sure there's probably some extra stuff in that one too. There's probably going to be some extra stuff. I mean, it's not just going to be 2 first round picks.
I think it would be
just 2 first round picks
because it's the non-exclusive tag or the exclusive.
I know, but like you wouldn't think that there would be anything else with it.
I think that's the highest it can be.
Oh, I mean, I guess, yeah.
If I understand it right, I could be 100% wrong on this, but I think it's 2 first round picks or something equal to it that the league approves. Is my understanding of it. I could be wrong on that, but I don't know. I think it might depend how desperate the Colts GM Chris Ballard is to kind of keep his job. Maybe Jim Irsay really does want to win 2 Super Bowls in this decade, so they sell out the entire future of the team to get 2 Super Bowls in the next 4-6 years.
Yeah.
I I mean, it's interesting. I really like the Lamar thing right now. I think it's going to answer a lot of questions for a lot of teams. Same with D-Hop. D-Hop, wherever he goes, that's going to kind of cause some ruckus. I really don't want him to go to the Chiefs or the Bills. Chiefs and the Bills are kind of the teams it seems like he's been looking at. I don't want him at either one of those. I'd rather him go to the Colts.
What, Lamar or D-Hop?
No, D-Hop.
Oh.
Lamar.
I was going to say, I was like, Lamar shouldn't be... I kind of like just did not register D-Hop or Lamar. I was like, what?
Lamar
but D-Hop, I don't know.
Lamar shifts the entire draft. Lamar shifts the league wherever he goes, kind of like Aaron Rodgers. I feel like Lamar is kind of just like, I said this on the Cardinal Rule, he's like Thanos right now. He has the whole league in his hand, and whatever he does, every other team
will shift everything.
Yeah.
I mean, but also with Aaron Rodgers, you don't think about it, but that trade never went through yet.
It hasn't. No.
So, I mean, technically Aaron Rodgers is still a Packer as of right now. So, I mean, no matter what he says on the Pat McAfee show, like, he is still a Packer. Nothing is confirmed yet.
He doesn't want to play for them, though.
I mean, if they can't get a trade done, you're going to have to either cut him or he's just going to have to retire. He'll probably just not play.
They guaranteed him money. I think.
Yeah. Oh, tough.
He could go out there and just throw the ball into the dirt until they bench him, and they still owe him like $60 million.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I suck now. Trade me. Because
trade me
he went into his. We're moving away from Lamar now. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. He could go into his dark room. He went into his dark room, and he was going to retire. He was 90% retired.
Sure, yeah, retiring.
And he came out, and the Packers were like, hey, we're moving on from you. And Aaron said, no. What? No, you don't get to make that choice. I guess that's how he felt. He didn't want to make that. He didn't want them to make that choice. So he wants to play. He wants to play for the Jets. I don't think he's going to play for the Packers. I think he likes the Packers fan base, but I don't think he likes the Packers organization right now, or at least certain people in the organization. Nathaniel Hackett is over with the Jets right now. His buddy Alan Lazard is over with the Jets right now. I don't know who has the leverage. I mean, there have been podcasts talking about that. They're like, oh, the Packers have all the leverage, and then the Jets podcast talking about how the Jets have all the leverage. I don't really know, because the Packers have Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play, and he won't play, I presume.
Yeah. Tough. I mean,
the Jets have gone all in on Aaron Rodgers. There's really nobody left unless they go for Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, what about that? What if instead of Aaron Rodgers, they just switch completely and decide that, you know what, we're not going to go for Aaron Rodgers anymore. He's too old. And then they decide to go for Lamar Jackson instead. How would that shift that entire division? Because that division would be absolutely insane at that point. Because then you would have the Bills, who are still pretty good, no matter like the additions or subtractions that they have. They're still going to be pretty good. The Dolphins, who are very much becoming developed. I think New England is still okay. I think they'll be fighting for different things. But I mean, obviously, they're still struggling on figuring out Mac Jones and that whole thing. Then all of a sudden you have the Jets, who have Lamar Jackson and a very solid team. I think it would change the landscape, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers would change it as much as everybody's hoping for. I think it could be really Lamar Jackson that could change that landscape. So that's a good thought, though, that you bring in. It would just be if the Jets are willing to trade away first-round picks.
That would be such a...
It would be kind of funny. It would be really funny.
Does Aaron Rodgers go to the Packers then? Or not the Packers, the Ravens?
No, Aaron Rodgers would just probably retire, because Baltimore would probably, I think he would just retire at that point, because I think at that point Aaron Rodgers would be pissed because he wouldn't have gotten what he wanted, and then the Packers would probably be like, we're not going to start you anyway, and then he'd probably just like, yeah, I'm done anyway. So, because I don't think he would go to Baltimore, because he said that he wanted to go with the Jets. I mean, I don't think there's anything for the Ravens to really offer him. So I think Baltimore would just be out of luck. And maybe the Jets will be nice and throw in a dog bone, and maybe they'll throw in like Zach Wilson.
And Alan Lazard's just in New York now, like.
Yeah, with I don't know. With Lamar Jackson,
Wilson, he's just Alan's.
Alan Lazard.
Like, I came here for you, and now I'm alone.
Yeah,
We
but
got our
then
apartment. We were gonna share an apartment.
and then Stan gets really happy because the Jets win a Super Bowl or something the next 3 years or something. Now that would be a team that Lamar Jackson can help win a Super Bowl for. All they need is a quarterback. I feel like they have all the weapons just right in front of them. So
That would be wild. Let's
Stan the Jet fan.
let's move on to some big news from last week and this week. So we've got the Washington Commanders are up for sale. Mr. Daniel Snyder has moved out of the stadium. That's what they said. I don't know. It sounds like he was living there. I presume they mean he's cleaned out his office, but he's not in the stadium anymore.
No, he lives there. He actually lives in the top, like in the upper area where the suites are. One of the suites is actually designated for him. Okay. He sleeps on the couch. Yeah,
you can tell. I mean, you can really tell that he breathes Commanders football. He really cared about that team. Now Dan Snyder's a guy I don't really care about making. Like, we're gonna make fun of him because he's a terrible person. But Josh Harris, owner of the 76ers and the Devils, has submitted a fully financed $6 billion bid for the Commanders, per Adam Schefter. So, Washington Commanders may be coming up under new management. Let's see here. What other big signings have we got? Bobby Wagner. We were wondering where he was going to go. Linebacker. He's going back to the Seahawks. He's saying, this 1 year I took off, wasn't a huge fan. We're going back. We're going to run it back, Seahawks. So one guy is back from the Legion of Boom. He's going to hang out by himself for 1 year. He's on a 1-year deal with the Seahawks. See what happens. They were a surprise playoff team last year. And then last night, at exactly 12:01 p.m., I saw that the Bengals signed a tight end. We have a tight end. We're not running with Devin Ossie, Patriots legend. We are going to have Irv Smith Jr., who is pretty decent. Like, I think his floor is Hayden Hurst. He's about the same. He could maybe be a bit better than Hurst. I like Hurst. I like this signing. We're not going into the draft with just one tight end in the tight end room. I think we should still draft a tight end.
I was going to say, would you still draft a tight end? Because on my end, I think you guys should.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm still Michael Mayer. I'm still a Michael Mayer guy. But
fair.
This further, I've held this opinion for a while. We need a guy who can block and receive, not just receive, which is Dalton Kincaid. A lot of people are saying he's a great receiver. He can catch the ball. No, I want a Michael Mayer type guy, blocks and receives. The way the team is set up right now, we don't need Travis Kelce. We don't need a guy who can go out and get 1,000 receiving yards as a tight end.
Travis Kelce to the Bengals.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be mad about that, but
okay.
Dude, Burrow 6,000 yards this season, easy.
Easy.
Halfway through the season, he's got 6,000.
That's my ranked number 2 quarterback in the AFC right there. He's not beating Patrick Mahomes, but
one day, dude, he has a better record against Patrick Mahomes than he does against.
And then Patrick Mahomes has against Patrick Mahomes. That's a really good one, yeah.
No, Joe Burrow has lost to Baker Mayfield more than he's lost to Patrick Mahomes. Fun fact.
Fun.
But, yeah, are there any signings you've seen that you are excited about?
Any signings that I've seen that I'm excited about? I mean, I feel like the Steelers keep adding depth. So I feel like from like a Pittsburgh Steelers thing, I feel like they just keep adding like they're not menial players, but they're definitely like bigger players, getting, moving along and stuff like that. I feel like, we got some line help and just different players that are going to be key. One thing that hasn't really been, I don't think, mentioned too much was our safety, Edmonds. He went to Philly. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but Edmonds was a pretty big part of the Steelers. So, and he was in the backfield a lot with Minka. And now he's going to be going to Philadelphia. So, and Gardner Minshew is a Colt. So
Gardner Minshew is a Colt, yes.
I did think about that real quick. As I was talking about that, I'm like, Minshew is a Colt. So how would that change all that quarterback stuff going on over there?
He shouldn't be the season-long starter. I don't think they intend to make
Minshew mania.
I think his contract maxes out at $6 million a year. So if they're planning on starting him for the entire season, his agent sucks.
Yeah, Minshew. Nah,
Like,
he's not going to start the entire.
He starts maybe like for 6 weeks while they get their rookie ready. If they don't get Lamb Jack or Aaron Rodgers or whoever they end up with. Who knows?
Yeah, and I do think, but I will say Bobby Wagner though. I think that's kind of fun though because I feel like he left Seattle and now he's going back, and I think it's gonna be a little fun. I mean, granted, it was only for a year. It's okay. It's okay. I know you're really excited about. I know, but yeah, Murray. I'm
telling the people on Spotify that can't see.
Yeah. Latavius Murray's a little excited. But yeah, he Bobby Wagner. I mean, it wasn't like he left for multiple years and is returning. He's going to be leaving. He left for a year and he's coming back. So
he wanted to go outside, test to see how the Seahawks actually did, and then they went to the playoffs. He was like, "Oh, I'll come back.
Yeah. Just wanted to see what would happen. But I mean, it'll still be fun though. I think the Seahawks fans will be excited just because he's a homeboy, and they're gonna be like, yeah. And the first home game back, they're like, welcome back, Bobby Wagner. Everyone's like, yeah. So
yeah, I mean, Bobby Wagner's a stud. I can't even be mad about that.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be like if Logan Wilson. Please don't leave. But if Logan Wilson left and then came back, I'd be like, yeah, you can come back. I'd buy tickets to that game immediately because I love Logan Wilson. He's fun to watch. Same with Jermaine Pratt. I was very happy that he came back.
What about Jordan Battle? What do you how do you feel about Jordan Battle right now? Because I'm really excited about Jordan Battle. It's just for the draft thing because I have him in all of my mock drafts right now.
Are you just
going to the Steelers?
Do you have him because the Steelers are actually going to go after him, or do you have him?
Well, the Steelers need a safety anyway because they lost Edmonds and they lost Marcus Allen, so we don't really have a lot of safeties. We should probably draft a safety higher up, but I think the Steelers should go for Battle because the only reason I said that was just because Jordan Battle posted on his Instagram story, so I was like, what are your thoughts on Jordan Battle?
I mean, I think he can be a good player. I don't think the Bengals are going to go for him.
Yes, good. No.
We're not going to go. No, why would
Good. Don't go for him.
I don't think we're going to draft a safety that high if we draft one at all. So I think you guys maybe will go after Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah, that's the consensus, right? That's the consensus. But I don't like us drafting cornerbacks in the first round. Artie Burns was not a good pick.
Yeah, but it's Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah, but Joey Porter Jr. may be like an Artie Burns. So.
But he's Joey Porter's son.
I get it, but still. That's not always the same thing.
If I just say his name differently, it makes it better.
That is definitely a conversation we should have for Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever our next show is.
Today is Tuesday. But yes,
shoot! Today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Wow. Yeah.
But
Wednesday's
that
show.
is a conversation we will have tomorrow, I think.
It's either going to be tomorrow or Thursday. So.
Probably tomorrow. Or can I go into my spiel? Can I just cut it?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're going way too deep into we're going to end up starting to talk about tomorrow's topic. So,
I don't want to spoil anything.
Jordan Battle to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No. Joey Porter Jr. Are you ready? Are you done? Okay. Thank you for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We can be found everywhere you listen to podcasts and on YouTube at No Buts Show. Our social media pages are NoButs_show on Instagram, No Buts Show on TikTok. My Twitter is Josh_Butts_2001 on Twitter. And if you would like to reach us, you can email us at bullmoosepodcast2, that's the number 2, @gmail.com. Finally, our spread shop, where you can buy all the awesome merch like this tank top that says Trust is Toxic on it. Buy that. If you buy that, it helps support the show. It helps us get new equipment. It helps me move out of a dorm room in Steubenville, Ohio. So if you want to help support the show, go buy the merch. The merch is in the description. Once again, if you enjoyed today's show, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, go do something nice for someone, and we're out.